Hello and welcome to Herzog's Leadership Series. My name is Riley Stapleton and today I'm being joined by Travis Rawlings, Senior Vice President of Technology here at Herzog. Travis joined Herzog in 2012, playing a pivotal role in their positive train control hosting business. He now steers the technical vision and strategy of the organization. In 2020, he was named a Railway Age 10 Under 40 Fast Tracker, recognizing rising stars making an impact in the railroad industry. Travis, welcome. Thank you for joining us today.
I appreciate it. Thanks for the intro.
Yeah, of course. So we're just going to jump right in. I just want you to tell me a little bit about kind of your career path, education, early career, kind of leading up to how you got to where you are now.
Okay. Yeah, I've since an early age, I've always been interested in technology, right? Always was messing with computers, any kind of technology I could get my hands on kind of growing up. And that's kind of what put me into the path of I want to go into technology in kind of my college education, and kind of went into an information systems degree. I went to the University of Texas at Arlington in Texas, and it really got me interested in technology, information systems, IT, that world. And so during college, I stayed local and worked through college. Started in like entry-level help desk positions, worked in different type of ERP systems like inventory, accounting, and that really kind of piqued my interest into kind of continuing the world in like information technology. And then that's where after a couple years of working there, it was in an aerospace company, and then my journey with Herzog started in 2012. So.
You said you kind of got into technology as a kid. Were you like one of those kids that had a train set that you liked? Did you ever see yourself on the railroad? Or?
Yeah, funny enough, I had a train set. I was always building computers. It was just kind of full circle moment of actually working in the railroad industry. So it's been an amazing experience over the past 12 years.
What would you say kind of enabled your kind of rise through the ranks, getting to the position you're in now?
That's a good question. So when I started with Herzog, I started as like a network engineer for Thierry and Dallas Fort Worth. So my primary responsibility was just managing the network for the dispatch systems, keeping the railroad running. And I'd say kind of what's helped me is just being, I've always tried to be reliable, tried to listen to the people around me, learn from the people around me, and just be consistent. So worked with a lot of great people over the years and just be able to learn from people before me. And so I started as a network engineer, moved into managing multiple dispatch systems, so our train control systems, all the back office systems. And then when positive train control came around with our North County project, and we decided at Herzog to build a hosting business for short lines and commuter railroads, I got the opportunity to lead that effort with a team. And so that team single-handedly kind of built what we deliver as Herzog today. And we operate over 350 trains a day in PTC for multiple commuter railroads, as well as short lines, and that's kind of what's continued to allow me to grow within Herzog. But I'd say being humble, listening, and just realizing that having a team around you that you can't do it alone. So.
Yeah, kind of just building off that, I wanted to ask about values or beliefs that you have that you think lead to your success. You kind of touched on it with listening and being humble, but building on that.
Yeah, like I honestly believe, being humble, listening, and really empowering the people around me, right? I could sit here and say that we built all of this. It wasn't myself. Like I had an amazing team around me that I still have today, that I couldn't do without the people around me. So surrounding myself with people that were smarter than me in different ways, and providing a different viewpoint on things, is ultimately how we built a better system, and got the best idea out there. So.
Yeah, and you mentioned that when Herzog kind of wanted to launch that initiative for that PTC hosting business, for anyone listening, when you have some type of initiative like that and you're the one selected to lead that charge, what kind of mentality do you think can help someone in that situation?
Oh, that's a difficult one, because it kind of goes into some of the building PTC, the business. It was a significant R&D expense, and this is back when Stan Herzog was alive. So I got the experience to work with Stan Herzog and had to meet with him monthly. So it added another layer of pressure that it was Stan's money that we were spending, right? I had to sit down with Stan. I learned a lot from Stan, and I'll always be grateful for that experience. But someone that has the overall vision of where we're trying to go, but also can be in the details and go back and forth. So.
All right, so we talked about some of those values, beliefs that can lead to success, going more into the technical side, what kind of skills do you think you have that have helped you in your career as well?
That's a good. I'd say not a subject matter expert at just one thing. Like I said, I started in networking, then I got into managing like servers and infrastructure and Windows and VMware environments, and then getting into cybersecurity, having a little bit of understanding of everything. And I think that's what I've always enjoyed in the IT world, that it's something different every day. It could be something at 8 a.m., it could be something at 2 a.m. It keeps me always challenged in doing something different. And that's what I've really valued at Herzog for the past 12 years. It's always been it's a different challenge every day. It's not a routine, and I like solving problems. And I think that's what keeps me fueled to keep moving. So
Yeah, so that to me that kind of sounds like you place a big emphasis on that continual learning.
correct.
And one thing I've always said is like I've never want to be a finished product, always want to be a work in progress, always trying to learn something new. So you think that is something that just drives you forward, just that curiosity?
Absolutely. Yeah. If I'm doing the same thing or not challenging myself, I feel like I'm not growing as a person, and also not doing the best for the people around me, my team, and the company. So
Yeah, I think that's valuable information. I think sometimes it can be scary to try something
It
new,
can.
but just got to change your viewpoint a little
Yeah.
bit. You're just learning. No, that's really awesome. What would you say is the most difficult part of being a leader, and how do you overcome that?
that's a good question. So the the most difficult part, I would think, for me personally, is just conflict. I traditionally like to steer away from conflict. I'm more reserved person naturally. I have to turn that on at work and talk to people and be able to put myself out there. But I'd say dealing with conflict, that is probably the most hard part of being a leader, and getting people to kind of see both sides and kind of finding a median ground, and being that kind of person in the middle. And really also remembering to listen to both sides versus kind of understanding all aspects before making a decision, to make the best decision. So I'm not swayed one direction or another.
Yeah, that's really interesting. Do you have you had any situations where you just have maybe two people have some conflict and they're just so polar opposites, and you don't know if they're going to look at something the same way, and is there a certain way to handle that? Is it just leaving and coming back later, or?
Yeah, more times than I'd like to admit that's been a scenario. Sometimes it's you have to understand that they're never going to see eye to eye, right? It's like, how do we get two people to work together? And if it's changing how we work together, changing how we communicate together, and it's a balance. It depends on the personalities. Also depends on where they're located. Are they located in the same office? Are they located across the United States? Is it an office personnel? Is it a field personnel? Trying to get both sides to see each point of view and perspective, that we're all working toward the same goal, but we just need to help each other to get there. So,
So, talked about some challenges. We've talked about learning. One thing I'm curious about is there a mistake you've made in your career that you can recall that you think has turned into a really valuable learning moment for you?
yes, I'd say it kind of goes back to confrontation as well, but not speaking up enough in the room, especially early on in my career. I'd say starting in college and also working in college, I got started in the professional world early, right? So I was surrounded by colleagues and peers that were older than me, right? And so as I started getting into the management roles, that was a challenge, right? Managing people that were older than me, and kind of figuring that out. So I'd naturally be more reserved, not speak up, speak my opinion, and kind of just let other people do the talking. I think looking back, I would be more vocal, have more confidence to kind of voice my opinion, to be heard, to have all the ideas out there. That's something that I think I've built over time, having confidence, and also working with people older than you with different experience levels. That kind of all goes away when you kind of prove your ability, right? And then people don't really see the age, and they just respect you for your work ethic and what you can do. And that's something I've just had to learn over time. So,
So, I totally get where you're coming from. I can relate to that, but it makes me curious. When you over time eventually started to speak up more, did you get that kind of reaction maybe you were fearing, or Did you realize, oh, wow, I could have done this a lot earlier?
I'd say both. I'd say sometimes, my idea was probably the best one out there. And then also it would be sometimes hard to hear rejection or the, hey, that's not the best idea, but that also allows me to start thinking different ways or understand why that wasn't the best way. Specifically, going back to my comment with Stan, right? We were deciding things, and every quarter we would meet about kind of where we're at on development and the spend of money, that he would ask questions that I would never think about on why he was asking it. And he would give examples of things that he's learned in the past or why things worked with the company or why they didn't work. So I think looking back, it was probably maybe hard to hear it directly in the moment. But today I understand why that is probably the best learning experience of people giving reasons why it hasn't worked in the past. So.
Mm-hmm. Do you have any piece of advice maybe for people who, struggle with rejection, how to not take that personally?
I wish I had a good answer. It's something that I still deal with today, right?
Mm-hmm.
Because I'm naturally someone that wants to please people and say, yes, we can get that done, which also can get me into trouble sometimes, right? Overcommit, those types of things. I'd say you have to remind yourself that it isn't personal, right? Mm-hmm. That you have to believe that everyone around you wants the best for you, and that they're just telling you that because they've either been in your shoes and don't want you to make the same mistakes, or they have a different viewpoint that you haven't thought about. So.
Mm-hmm. I mean, it's difficult, even if you all have a common goal. Everyone thinks through things differently.
Yes.
So
I'd say some
totally
of the best decisions that we've made have been sometimes in a more let's say a more, not aggressive, but more passionate conversations, right? Mm-hmm. And looking back, that has been where some of the best decisions and designs and the growth of the organization that I've been a part of have happened. So.
Yeah, no, totally. So now that, you've gone through your career, you've risen through the ranks, you got to the position where you are now, what still motivates you to get up every day and pursue excellence?
Part of it is the always wanting to be challenged and continue to learn and personally grow as well as the company. But I'm going to go back to the Stan Herzog, that when, many years ago when Stan Herzog put me in the position with Brad Lager that I'm in, kind of worked my way into, but building that positive train control business. Stan put a lot of trust and faith in me to spend that amount of dollars to build the business. This was a completely new business for Herzog that we were getting into. And so I have a personal connection to Stan in that way. And also that really just means the perpetual Herzog that Bill wanted. It means even more to me. It's not just a company slogan that we're saying out there. Like I knew Stan, and then Stan being related to Bill, it just means more, right? That, hey, I want to be able to hand the company over to the next generation. And give it to him the way Stan left it to us. Mm-hmm. So.
Yeah, that's awesome. So, one final question for you. If there is someone out there listening who wants to be in your shoes one day, you could give them one piece of advice, what would that be?
Work hard. Your work will always outwin any other outside influence. So, as long as you have a good work ethic, you're honest with everything that you're doing, everything else will come.